Hello again, I'm back. Okay, so wanted to come back into another video. This time, I wanted to talk about the stages of my awakening process. I think a lot of us experience the same type of emotions and same type of feelings when we come into this knowledge. So I just wanted to share it and then share a little bit of knowledge or a little bit of wisdom with particularly with my stages of awakening. So as you guys know from the first video, my awakening came through Pastor Darby. Initially watching that Who Are We video and what I felt like the Ruach revealing and kind of opening, and it's like a light came on and I was like that it made sense. So initially when I finally accepted it 100%, I was there was like this joy. I was like so happy. I felt like finally, like, I know who I am. And so all the things as far as our history, as far as, slavery, as far as Jim Crow, civil rights, the war on drugs, and everything that we have experienced in this country, particularly in this country, it began to make sense, and I actually had more peace about it. Not that I just accepted it as being okay, but that I had more peace because I knew why. We were going through, or have been, and still go through what we go through as a people. But there was a joy inside of me, and so like when I would be out, somewhere public, going to the store or something like that, and I would just like see my people, I would be like, in my mind, I would be like, I wonder if they know, like I wonder if it's just me, or I wonder if other people actually know. And so that feeling led to me wanting to just share it. Wanted me to share, me wanting to share this information with other people. And I will just warn that is not the smartest thing to do, especially when you first come into this knowledge, because there is such a confusion as far as especially if you're coming out of Christianity, or not coming out of it, but if you just fresh in, coming into this knowledge, and you're in a Christian church, it's not really the best thing to do to go to start sharing it, because there's a lot of information, there's a lot of wisdom that you have to have in order to properly share what you need to share as far as this information. Because if you just tell somebody, well, with Hebrew Israelites, there's going to be questions. And it's like, well, what does that mean? Like, what do we do and all this? And if you listen to some of the teachings out there, it's confusion. It's so many people are teaching so many different things. And I think there's an excitement when you come into this knowledge, because you want to learn. But if you're going around to all these different people and you're picking up information from all these people, it can be confusing. So anywho, what I did, as I stated in one of my previous videos, I just wanted to learn. I started to just start trying to just learn as much as I could, and thank the Most High that He, like I said in my last video, that He had given me a certain level of discernment, and certain things I knew, as far as picking up information, I knew, as far as chewing the meat and spitting out the bones. It was like the Ruach was kind of like lighting up certain things that I would learn, and then I would get warnings about other things, like that's not right. Like my spirit, something about certain things that I was hearing, it didn't feel right in my spirit. So anywho, what I did during that time, because I wanted to share the information with my family, I actually did a whole presentation, and I still have the presentation. I did a whole PowerPoint presentation, and all that, and I actually shared it with my parents. Talked to my sister about it, and I noticed that when I shared the information with them, I think I presented it in such a way that it was like, wow, yeah, this is a real good possibility that what you're saying is true. But did I see anything change as far as how they felt about it, or You know, how I felt when I woke up to this knowledge. Like, I wanted to talk about it. You know, my best friend, she had came to the knowledge, so we always talk about it. But did I hear anything else from them as far as like wanted to know more? I had given them the opportunity when I was actually on the presentation because I'm gonna say about 95%, 90 to 95% of my presentation consisted of biblical scriptures, and I had given them the opportunity to write down the scripture so they can go back, but nobody wrote anything down. So, um, I just took that as, I shared it, and it is what it is. So anyway, so following that, at that time, I was still going to church. I was still going to, the church that I was going to before I came into this knowledge, me and my family. And, even before I came into this truth, there was a little bit of few things about what was going on in my church that I didn't particularly agree with. I think Pastor Darby spoiled me, and this ain't no spoil me in a good way. Pastor Darby was so real. He was always talking about calling out sin and all that, to the point where I was wanting to hear that, because if it's convicting me to make me want to change my life and want me to do better, I felt like that's what, and I knew, just that's what pastors are supposed to be doing. Christ in the Bible during his walk, he talked more about hell than he did about heaven. So I feel like if a pastor is an under shepherd, Christ is the good shepherd, the ultimate shepherd, then they should be following him and his example and what he did. And when you don't hear hell, when you don't hear revelation, when you don't hear sin, when you don't hear repent, that was kind of like a red flag for me. I was seeing obvious homosexuals in our church. I was seeing I saw a couple of lesbians, and they were obvious because they were dressed, like men, with suits on and stuff at church. And I remember one Sunday, it was Easter Sunday. The pastor actually took took the opportunity on the most crowded Sunday to thank the members in the church for not ostracizing or making this lesbian feel bad. And he said, something to the extent of, we all sin and fall short, which that is true. We do all sin and fall short. That's not where you don't put a period on the end of that. You put a comma on that. We all sin and fall short. But, and I didn't hear that. And for him, my pastor at that time, to take that opportunity on that Sunday and to call that out, I felt like it was strategic. I felt like he was trying to do it, and it almost made me feel like it was a welcome to anybody, and which I feel like I felt like at that time, the church is the place where people who are in sin go, but you don't stay in it. If the pastor is doing what he's supposed to do, you don't stay in sin. Eventually the Spirit will begin to reveal to you, will begin to convict you of wrong, and you change. And that's the fruit. Christ said, a tree by its fruit. And so if the Spirit is moving, if people are saying, I'm saved and I'm redeemed, but nothing about their life changes, you're still going to the club every weekend, you're still drinking, you're still partying, you're still fornicating, you're still just, then what fruit do you have that's showing that? And I just didn't feel like that was being promoted at that church. It was one Sunday, it was like one of the last few Sundays we went, I saw 3 men walk in and sit down. One of the men, he stayed on his phone. I'm gonna say about 90% of the service. He was on his phone, scrolling, and then I noticed he had French tips, and I felt like when they walked in, it was something was up with them. And then when I saw the French tips, I just thought, gay. And the fact that they could sit there in that service and not feel convicted and not feel wrong. Now I mean, after like I said, that was one of my last few services, so I don't know what happened with those guys. I don't know if they came back. I don't know if they joined. I don't know if their lives changed. But I wasn't hearing anything from the number of Sundays that I was going to make me feel like this is a church where sin is called out, where people's lives are changing, where they're producing the fruit of the Spirit. I just didn't feel like that. So I talked to my husband, and we decided that we were just going to stop going. We were going to stop going to that church, and we were just kind of going to do our own thing at home. We were going to read, and we were going to, because the Bible says where two or three gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. So we felt like we can just do this at home. We can do this as a family. So we just decided to stop going to church. And so, following that revelation, leaving the the church that I was attending, even though before I came into this truth, one of my biggest hesitations about accepting it was the mindset that I had before about the camps that I was seeing. On YouTube I would see videos of them saying this, but then I would see them cussing people out, arguing with women, arguing with white people, and all white people going to hell. And I would see that, and I just would, like, in my mind I was like, that's not the Spirit of God. At that point I was like, that's not the Spirit of God. So I couldn't accept what they were saying, because I knew the spirit that they were coming in was not God. It was not love. It was hate. And so during that time, so after I left the church, and I'm looking at these videos, it kind of started to get a little, like, my next stage, I started to get a little bit discouraged, because I subscribed to this channel on YouTube. It's called the Watchman's Report, I think. And they had a video called the Tarnished Awakening, and that's what I felt like was happening. And I was like, these groups, while they think they're doing the work of the Most High, they're turning more people away from this truth than they are bringing them in. And because they're not coming to our people or to any other people in love. And Christ said, that's how you're gonna, especially with us, for us to love each other. But he said that as far as commandments, the new commandments that he had given was love your brother as yourself, and love the Most High with all your heart, soul, mind, and spirit or strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And I wasn't seeing love, and so it was discouraging, because I'm like, it's like this is jacking up the awakening. So I got discouraged in that. So, pretty much where I am. This is where I am now. This is the stage I'm at now. I have not reached out to anybody as far as me wanting to talk to them and, kind of help to awaken them. I do want to use YouTube as the platform to, to spread whatever the Most High gives me to spread. But at this point, I want to work on myself. I want to make sure that I'm right with the Most High. All these things that a lot of them preach is kind of outward things. But what is the most important with the Most High is a personal relationship with Him. Because you can look like, you can look like a textbook Hebrew on the outside, but have the most wicked heart. And I don't care how you look on the outside, or what types of things you're actually doing. If your heart is wicked, you're not going to make it. So what I'm trying to do right now is to make sure that I'm right with the Most High. Like I said in my last video, I'm not perfect. There's some things that I need to work on with myself, that the Ruach has been revealing to me about myself, things that I need to improve on. And when I know it's Him, these are things that I would normally think myself that I needed to change. My language. Not my language, because I don't even curse. I don't curse. I haven't cursed for years. I haven't used profanity for years, and so But there's some things that I need to tweak, that I need to work on. And as far as developing a deeper relationship with the Most High and with the Ruach, so that I know exactly what it is that He wants me to do. Um, so that's what we all, at least at least at the foundation. That's what we all need to be. We all need to be working on ourselves. None of us are perfect. None of us know it all. None of us. I think, so when I look at some of these teachings, people go off if you disagree. I mean, if you disagree with something, that somebody says, I mean, they go off like they just, like they just have it all together. Like they can do no wrong. They can say no wrong. All these books they read in, that they just have all knowledge. And I just know the Bible says we prophesy in part. We don't all, nobody knows it all. So every one of us is going to get something wrong as far as what we know and what we are sharing with other people. But I think if we continue to develop our relationship with the Ruach and the Most High, that those things that we are wrong about will be revealed to us. Because there's some things that when I first came into this truth about, that I was wrong about. That I had to go back to Torah and read, and I'm actually reading now and studying and bookmarking, and it's really helping me to be able to precept and anyhow, I'm rambling at this point, but that's it, y'all. Those are my stages of the awakening. Maybe your stages kind of similar, or I guess differ, but just depending on wherever you are in your awakening, just seek the Most High. Watch who you learn from. If you are studying yourself to show, if you are studying to show yourself approved, and you're depending more on the Ruach to reveal the scriptures to you versus depending on men, because sometimes men have their own agendas as far as why they're teaching what they're teaching. They may be ignorantly teaching something wrong, or they may be consciously teaching something wrong, because not everybody's being led by the Most High. So that's it, y'all. Hopefully that's something that can help somebody. But that's it. Y'all have a blessed day, blessed morning, blessed afternoon, blessed evening, wherever you are. All right, y'all. Shalom.